Let me take you back to day 8 of Brown's training camp. Not the beginning, not the official hype, but the moment everything changed. That morning, I walked in expecting the usual basic quarterback rotation. Some install packages, a few sparks here and there. Nothing crazy. You know the drill. Structured reps, veterans coasting, everything measured and methodical. But by noon, something felt different. I wasn't watching a practice anymore. I was watching a shift in energy, in momentum. Maybe even in the future of this franchise. And at the center of it all, one name, Sanders. But let me back up for a second and walk you through what really happened. The way I experienced it, everything kicked off clean. Sharp reps, you could. Hear the pads cracking, see the urgency in every step. Quarterbacks syncing up, routes snapping off on time. It looked like a team on a mission. Then came Gabriel, and the rhythm broke. It wasn't a disaster, but you could feel the tempo drop. His throws were behind, his timing was off. One out route hung in the air so long, the crowd audibly gasped. It wasn't awful, and maybe that's the problem. Because in this league, especially in a city like Cleveland, not awful doesn't win you anything. You're either building belief or you're blending into the background. And Gabriel looked like he was chasing the game. Instead of controlling it, then Sanders took the field. Everything changed. Not because of his last name, not because of media buzz, but because of the way he played. He didn't just take the snap, he owned the moment. Every read was quick. Every throw had purpose. Every motion, intentional dot, no hesitation, no wasted energy. Just rhythm. Confidence, command. By the time team drills were rolling, nobody was talking about QB3 versus QB4 anymore. That conversation was dead. What people were whispering and then shouting was this. This ain't a competition. It's a blowout. And they weren't wrong. In red zone work, Sanders was lethal. Back shoulder lasers. Touch throws, comebacks. Every ball came out clean, on time, and with meaning. Meanwhile, Gabriel continued to struggle. 3 straight misfires to start. A high throw, a bounce. One that should have been picked. And sure, he made a few plays later, but by then, the crowd had tuned out. And let me be clear, fans know what they're seeing. This wasn't about hype. It wasn't about bias. It was about performance. Closed OTA numbers don't lie. Sanders was completing 77% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception on a tipped ball. He wasn't just efficient, he was surgical. Gabriel, he had more reps, lighter defenses, and still couldn't string it together consistently. That inconsistency followed him into day 8. And that's when the noise really started. Even media members who usually avoid hot takes started tweeting. Phrases like, Sanders clearly more decisive, QB room feels imbalanced. Was Victor Ford who said it best. Sanders deserves to win this job outright. Then came the line that hit like a gut punch. You don't draft a short quarterback in the 3rd round just because he's got a firm handshake and good manners. Not slander, it's truth. Because here's the deal. Gabriel's 5'11", and when the pocket collapses, so does he. He gets jumpy. His reads vanish. You can see the self-doubt mid-play. Sanders. He stays tall, stays calm, delivers. And that's the word I keep coming back to. Gabriel gets praise for intangibles, high character, good leadership, upside. Sanders, he gets picked apart like a 10-year vet. They dissect his mechanics, his posture, his facial expressions. But the tape? It tells the real story. Sanders executes. Gabriel hesitates. Sanders plays like a starter. Gabriel plays like he's trying to remember the playbook. And here's the thing, in the NFL, reps are currency. And on day 8, Sanders made a deposit that shook the building. Now it's starting to get uncomfortable, because when the tape says one thing, but the depth chart says something else, people start asking questions. Fans, they're not buying the company line anymore. Not when they've seen Sanders light it up. Not when they heard the crowd chanting, QB1, QB1. And that chant wasn't for Flacco, wasn't for Pickett. Certainly wasn't for Gabriel, it was for Sanders. Inside the locker room, things are shifting too. Rookies are warming up next to him. Receivers are asking for extra timing drills. Even the veterans. The quiet ones are watching because they know. They've seen what it looks like when a real one walks in. And Sanders, he's showing up early, staying late, breaking down tape, and walking off the field to standing ovations. Meanwhile, Gabriel, he's just there, not crashing, but not rising either. He looks like what he is, a rookie adjusting to the league's speed, but Sanders, he looks like the future. And that's what's got the front office sweating. Because when the team believes in a guy, when the media starts poking holes in the plan, when the fans are already chanting his name, hey, you can't hide behind buzzwords anymore. Depth charts start looking political. Reps start getting questioned. Whispers turn into confrontations. Why isn't Sanders getting more run? What exactly has Gabriel shown? Are we actually playing the best guy? That's the nightmare for any coaching staff when the more talented quarterback is treated like a long-term project, while the safer pick gets babied. And make no mistake, this started before training camp. It started on draft night. Let's rewind. Sanders minus 4,100 plus yards. 37 touchdowns, most sacked QB in the Power 5. Never rattled, fell to the 5th round. Gabriel, shorter, less productive, got picked 2 rounds earlier. Why? Stick around and you'll hear the usual fit system mechanics. Let's be honest, this wasn't about tape. It was about control. Sanders showed up with a brand, a platform, voice. And to some front offices, that's threatening. Gabriel, quiet, obedient, a yes sir guy. And he got rewarded for being non-threatening, but football has a way of leveling the field. And in camp, that field is telling the truth. Sanders is outplaying, outletting, outcommanding, and somehow still not getting the reps he's earned. We're still pretending he needs more time. Kona, the numbers don't lie. The film doesn't lie. And the fans, they lie least of all. You want character? You want leadership. Let me give you this. While other rookies were walking red carpets at the ESPYs, Sanders skipped the event entirely to organize a fundraiser for families impacted by the Rainbow Terrace apartment fire. No camera crew, no headlines, just Sanders. Handing out food, giving back, putting in the work. That's not a PR stunt. That's who he is. Ask the coaches. Ask the people he helped. Ask the teammates who watched it happen. They'll all tell you, this isn't just a talented rookie. This is a cornerstone, and every day the Browns ignore that. They lose a little bit of their credibility, because this isn't about patience anymore. It's about honesty. If Sanders keeps balling and Gabriel keeps flinching, it's the depth chart doesn't reflect that. Then it's not development, it's denial. And that's the kind of mistake Cleveland just can't afford to make again. Not when the answer is, we're already out there wearing number 12, stacking dimes, winning hearts, and rewriting the Browns quarterback story one rep at a time. If you felt what I saw on day 8, if you believe the future is already here, drop a comment below. We ride with Sanders. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned because the front office might still be dragging their feet, but the future, he's not waiting. His name is Sanders. You ever get that feeling? like you're watching something shift in real time? Not because someone says it, but because the energy just changes. The sideline chatter drops. The cameras all turn in one direction. And suddenly, even the ones who were ignoring it can't look away anymore. That was day 8 of Brown's training camp. And no, it wasn't a blockbuster trade. It wasn't a big-name injury or some headline-grabbing drama. It was a rookie, a 5th-round quarterback named Sanders, the guy the organization barely acknowledged after the draft. The same kid the owner brushed off before he ever took a snap. Someone the media buried behind 3 other names on the depth chart. But you can only keep something real buried for so long. Because on day 8, Sanders didn't just show up. He took over. The day started off like any other basic drills. Walkthroughs? Nothing flashy on the schedule. Then something shifted. They gave Sanders a few reps with the ones. Just a sprinkle, a gesture. They thought they were throwing him a bone, but he didn't nibble. He feasted. First series, 2 for 3, 1 near miss, then to absolute bullets. 1 on the move to Gage Larvadane. 1 thread-the-needle strike. To Cade McDonald with defenders draped all over him. It wasn't luck. It wasn't adrenaline. It was precise, it was commanding, and it blew the lid off the Browns quarterback's story. Here's the craziest part. He did it all without the starters. No Amari Cooper, no Njoku, no first-string tackles. It's pure skill. Timing and instincts cutting through a Pro Bowl. Defense like he belonged there from day 1. The staff wanted a quiet look. What they got was ATHUNDERCLAP because Sanders didn't come to wait his turn. He came to win the job. Now flip the field. Let's talk about Dillon Gabriel. The guy Cleveland actually drafted higher. Gave the reps to, rolled out the red carpet for, from day 1. Gabriel had every advantage. Top receivers, first-team linemen. It's the full attention of the coaching staff. So what did he do on day 8? 3 plays, 3 misses. 1 sailed into the sideline. 1 bounced into the turf. 1 nearly picked clean by a safety who read it like an open book. His only touchdown? Short dump to Larvadane, who did all the heavy lifting himself. Gabriel didn't lead a drive. He survived one. And the reaction? Crickets, because if Sanders had done that, they'd have slapped the He's a Project label on him and moved on. But Gabriel, they make excuses. They stay silent. This isn't a competition. Anymore, it's protection and fans. They're catching on. On day 8, the lie finally started to unravel. The one about an open competition, about fair rotations, about Sanders just being here to learn quietly. That illusion shattered the second he dropped back against the starters and delivered a strike. That wasn't a development rep. That was a statement. You could feel the shift. The sideline leaned in. Veterans nodded. Coaches paused mid-sentence. Even the defenders getting burned knew it. They were seeing something different. It's not just his throws. It's the presence. Sanders walks like he's done this for years. Commands the huddle like it's second. Nature plays with the poise of a seasoned leader, and he doesn't need flash to prove it. No chest pounding. No drama, just quiet fire. Just results. Exactly what you want in a quarterback. So here's the question. Why isn't this story everywhere? Why isn't ESPN running highlights of Sanders the way they are with Gabriel? Why is NFL Network still pushing the Joe Flacco mentor narrative like he isn't getting carved up in every drill? Because Sanders wasn't part of the plan. He doesn't fit the script. He didn't come with the hype or the high draft status. He wasn't supposed to matter. But now, it's messing up the whole plan. And the people in charge don't know what to do with that if they acknowledge it. They have to answer for it. They'd have to explain why the guy lighting camp is still buried on the depth chart, and they can't So they go quiet. Let's rewind. Just a few days ago, owner Jimmy Haslam sat down with reporters and practically washed his hands of the Sanders pick, said it was GM Andrew Berry's decision, made it clear he didn't sign off. Now, that quote is haunting him because the kid he disowned is looking like the most promising quarterback the Browns have had in years. And the internet noticed. Twitter's torching that clip. Reddit's turned it into a meme. Instagram is slicing it into reels next to Sanders. Highlights? It's not just bad optics, it's a leadership failure. Players feel this kind of thing. They know who commands a huddle. They know who earns trust. And they're already showing who they believe in. You can see it in the body language. O-linemen giving nods. Defenders offering helmet taps after getting beat. Teammates gravitating to him between reps. That's not marketing. It's real. Gabriel may have the job on paper, but on the grass, it's in the heat of competition. This team's already leaning toward Sanders, and once a locker room chooses its leader, there's no going back. You can't coach that. You can't fake it. What Sanders has is organic. It's dangerous to every plan the front office made because he didn't flash potential. He delivered performance, with less help, more pressure, higher stakes. That's not a fluke. That's real. And here's the truth. The storm is coming. Every rep Sanders takes gets louder. Every accurate throw raises eyebrows. Every Gabriel misfire weighs heavier day. 8 didn't just shift the momentum, it burned the script and handed Sanders the pen. Now the Browns are running out of time and out of excuses. So here's where I stand. Give Sanders the same weapons, the same reps, the same spotlight, and you won't see a QB2, you'll see the real QB1. And no spin, no quote. No behind-the-scenes politics is going to change that now.